Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success talk show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I empower and guide those that are transitioning from the military and federal government space to step into their most authentic personal brand to gain lucrative opportunities, especially in their new chapter. And as you come in, please let me know where you're streaming in from. Give us your name, where you're, sitting at, and let us know what's happening in your world. All right, because you decided that you wanted to spend a little bit time with us tonight, and I am so happy that you are here. So, as we get started with the show, and y'all, I've got a SLAYMAZING guest tonight, and we started just a tad bit later than we would like to. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but that did not stop us from showing up. Okay. So we start from the word slay. And the word slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that resonate with me, and hopefully they resonate with you too. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community or a sense of family, and knowing you are built to last. So on this show, I search high, search low, and sometimes I don't have to look too far. All right. And in this case, I didn't have to look too far to have this special guest on the show. And all the people that come onto the show, what they are doing is expressing themselves on their own terms, and they're using the Slay philosophies to really impact the world today. So I want us really to give a warm welcome to my guest. Her name is Kenya Langford. Now, Kenya is a magnetic and visionary CEO and founder of GeaVance Energy Solutions. And she is dedicated to engineering a more sustainable and resilient future. She is a United States Army veteran and a strategic leader, and she brings over decades of experience spanning aviation, logistics, and the energy sector, both traditional and renewable. Her expertise in program development, operational excellence, and strategic asset growth has positioned her as a trusted voice in shaping the evolving energy landscape. She has a passion for sustainability, y'all. Y'all are going to be wowed by what she has to share with her because her solutions are driving measurable impact. And her leadership is reflecting a unique blend of discipline, innovation, and purpose, all centered on creating a cleaner, more sustainable world. So please put your hands and give a warm welcome to my guest, Kenya Langford. Hello, Queen.
Hi,
How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm well too. Thank you for asking. And thank you so much for being a guest on the show tonight. I know the first few minutes of us getting here was a journey, but guess what? That did not stop us, and we are here. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always something. It's like, oh my goodness, what is going on behind the scenes, right? And sometimes they just don't want us to be great. And I'm just telling you right now, we're gonna be great tonight. So y'all, um, you know, there is so much going on in the world today, so much going on. But I do know that when I have another woman veteran, okay, on the show, all we gonna be talking about is how we have slayed all the things. All right. So please make sure that you are taking notes because this is one of those shows that we can do that. So Kenya, can you please just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and then we'll kind of get it rolling from there.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for having me. Happy to be here, even though we had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, we did.
I guess where should I start? Um, well, I guess my name is Kenya, obviously. I'm originally from a small town in South Carolina. I joined the military straight out of high school. Um, Went into a career in petroleum supply as a petroleum supply specialist, which I followed out into my civilian. career as well. So I managed aviation fuel terminals, which also led me to the DMV area, Maryland. So that's kind of where I met Rochelle. Um, and along my journey, I've had some successes, some promotions at a young age. However, ultimately, I always had a passion for the environment and energy, which ultimately led me to starting my own business at GeaVance Energy Solutions. So I think I tried to sum it up there for you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we summed it up, or you summed it up quite nicely, but we will be pulling back some of these things because, I for sure want to ask you some very specific questions. So, um, what made you decide to go into the Army?
Well, um, I needed to get away.
Mhm.
I didn't see any opportunities there in my area where I was from. Also, one of the things that stuck with me, I said, man, I have never paid for school in my life. Why am I going to start today? So, yeah, I said I'm leaving, and I think the journey that I wanted to take, it didn't happen the way I wanted to. Originally, I wanted to go to college, do ROTC, and also do reserve so I can get the enlisted experience. However, they said they didn't have any jobs available for me,
Mm.
so I had to go active duty, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened. But I didn't see any opportunities there for me. I didn't. One of the things I said, ignorant. I said I didn't want to be another statistic, which we still are anyway. But I saw what was happening. A lot of people were thinking the same, just kind of doing the same things, and I just wanted to seek opportunities for myself.
Yeah. And I think that holds true for a lot of us who go into the military. We don't know we just trying to go and see something new and something different. And then we get in there, and it could be a mixture of a lot of things, whether or not you enjoy it, whether or not you're indifferent, or you for sure know that's not for you, right? So, as you started your career and you realized that you had a passion for aviation and energy and so forth, like how did that start to nurture itself after you left the army?
Well, actually, the passion kind of came before, as I said, it
Mm.
came, when I was a little bit younger. I always was telling people, hey, you need to recycle, you need to do this.
Mm.
I always was wondering, like, hey, why are we taking oil from other countries? I had that interest, and I actually, like, my last year, which my mother reminds me that I wrote an entire paper. Like, it was in political science class, and we had to write a paper to the White House as if we were going to talk to them about some type of policy. So I chose the oil and gas and trying to figure out, hey, why we're not using our own reserves. So, I didn't have any intentions of going into that space or field. I was watching Criminal Minds, and I said I wanted to, work for the FBI. So I wanted to be military police, go
Mm.
CID, all that different things, and study forensics and psychology. So the passion was there and the interest was there, but me hopping into this career in petroleum supply as a petroleum supply specialist, I'm like, that wasn't my intention. But like I said, my mother reminded me of that.
Mm.
However, I realized, I'm like, hey, man, I'm in this space that I had this interest in, which is crazy enough. And when I got to my first duty station, I was actually assigned to a military police detachment. So
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
yeah. Um, and the reason I didn't go military police, I think that I should have put that as well, is I was too young. They wanted me to be 18 when I left for training, and I was only 17. And I did not want to wait, even though my birthday was like the following month. I said I wanted to get out of here. So I left like 2 weeks or a week or so after I graduated. I was on the first
Wow.
thing smoking. Yeah. Um, so let me go back to the question because I'm going somewhere else. But uh, as I was looking at getting out, which I got out a little bit earlier than expected. I wanted to stay in the Louisiana and Texas area, and I was exploring that space still. Like, oh, they have, it's Louisiana and Texas, like it's oil, it's gas, it's all those things, on the shore and everything else like that. Things didn't work out for me to stay there, and I got out and got a job offer in Virginia, at the airport, managing there. Well, I say managing, but because it was pretty much more of my career, but at entry level operating their fuel facility. And, shortly, like maybe a year after, I got promoted to supervisor slash assistant manager. And then I would say 2 years later, I got promoted to general manager to another airport, managing the entire thing. So I would say my interest started to, expand as far as I was seeing everything that came in. A lot of times as consumers, we just see the what we call the downstream side of things, where you just go to the pump, you're getting gas.
Mhm.
You don't
Yeah.
see everything else that goes into it as far as like the operations, what's happening on the business side, or even we say midstream, like filtering and things of that nature. So um, that took interest in me. I'm like, man, I think I actually like, how like doing this in a sense, like operating, moving fuel from this place to that place, managing the different projects that came in and taking tanks apart and putting them back together. Having to go inside of them. I'm like, man. And then like, climb on the top of tanks, you get to see the entire airport from there. And like, hey, I'm taller than everybody else. I got a great view, you know. Then you get perks of being at the airport. So, but that's a whole nother story. But in any case, it just expanded. I'm like, man, how are these people actually getting fuel to this airport? Like, what's that process? And I was like, why can't that be me? Why can't I be a supplier of fuel? And so while I was there, that kind of like opened up my interest for that. And it's like, okay, I'm really
Wow.
passionate about this. So I took the time to actually stay there, educate myself, and learn. My other passion was I always wanted to have a business, and I wanted to have an international business at that. So um, with of course, oil and gas is they have it in other countries like Trinidad and Dubai and all these other Middle East and stuff. So I started looking into other countries and what it would take to move product from there here to there and how it happened. So just started doing some more deep diving into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're the first woman that I have met that is so interested in this particular field. And for me, and especially to see a Black woman veteran in this space, if you will, and really wanting to learn more and do more and really start the businesses, so that way we can start to learn and educate ourselves about energy. Because, like you said, all I'm worried about when I go to the pump, to the gas station, is making sure the gas comes out of the nozzle. That is all I really know about. All the back end stuff, I can care less about it. But it is important for us to understand where all of this is coming from and how it gets manufactured. So with you saying this, like, let's take it back to the airport, because you got offered a job when you were still in Louisiana to come.
No, it literally I got out, in Louisiana and I moved I kind of moved temporarily. I wouldn't even say I moved because it was probably like a stop like I stopped in South Carolina at my mother's place and I was like, man, I don't see myself sitting around here too long. So I started applying for jobs knowing that I was going to be coming up to Virginia to visit my family. And so I applied. I literally applied one night and I got called the next morning. They woke me up 8 o'clock in the morning. This was at like DCA airport. Well, sorry, Reagan's airport.
Mm-hmm.
For a different type of position in the same industry. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I'll come. I'm driving up there this week, so I'll come and interview. So I'm like, well, I applied for another one in Virginia. That's what at Dulles Airport. I'm like, well, they're paying more and it's actually full time, so I guess they'll see if they call. And lo and behold, the day before I was getting ready to head up to Virginia, they called. And so I'm like, well, which one pays more? And this
Right.
one is full time. So I was like, well, I'm going to take your interview. So I did that. And then, yeah, so I literally wasn't out that long. But yeah, I was in South Carolina when I got offered the position.
Okay. And so then you come to Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're working in this particular field, if you will, at the airport. And I remember you telling me about some of the challenges that you were having working in this particular um, space. So, can you share with the audience a little bit about your experience, where you saw those challenges and you've had to work through those? And I know that like leadership for us, it looks a little different for leadership, because we get our shape from the military experience, and then we kind of move forward. So what occurred, and what kind of lessons did you learn through that?
Great question. Um, Various challenges, various lessons. So let me see what comes up. I would say, I mean, even just starting out entry level, I think at that particular time I was the only woman or female that was being an actual like I was say doing manual labor when I got hired at in my first job at Virginia. So I think navigating, just a kind of a male dominated space.
Mhm,
Granted, I was doing that in the military because same thing, the team that I was on, or the squad that I was in was all male.
mhm,
So just navigating that, I think also navigating, I mean, this is, I think both civilian and military world, navigating the training challenges that they have because there was not actually like a trainer for that particular role, and we were kind of taught to shadow the senior people, and no one really wanted to actually train because they didn't feel that it was their responsibility. So
mm,
ultimately, I had to ask a lot of questions. I came in with a mind of curiosity to get the answers I need, like why are you doing this, why are you doing that, and they probably got aggravated with me. I think people still get aggravated with me today because I ask a lot of questions, but
mhm,
I was just trying to understand why are we doing things a certain way, and then I ultimately had to teach myself a lot of things.
mm,
I started picking up what they call task breakdowns or operation manuals and start looking at how to do um, certain tasks. I started following the pipelines and the trends and seeing where fuel went. They had a what they call a SCADA system, and they have some diagrams that you could trace. Also, kind of looked at blueprints too, um, to kind of study and see what was actually going on. So I think that was a challenge I had to overcome, like training myself. And
mm,
I think something that's kind of was, I would say, not directly taught, but indirectly taught was, don't really speak up.
mm,
So I think I had to overcome, that fear of asking questions, even though I didn't know what I didn't know. So I just had to say, hey, why are you doing this? And if it came out like they didn't know, sometimes they felt bad because they didn't know why they were doing it. Just like, well, we were always told to do this, so we do it. Like, well, it doesn't
mhm,
make sense. So let me ask some questions. And I think from that, people started to see that I actually wanted to learn. So that's kind of also what led to me getting a promotion because I was asking those questions. I was actually trying to do my job and do it well at that. And then, at the same time, once I started to see certain things, I
mhm,
also started to recommend, like, hey, we should be doing this. Like, this might help a little bit better if we do it this way. So that's one of the challenges. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I think once I got higher and in my management level, I was kind of threw in to some of the spaces that I was in. I was never like really, all right, hey, here's how to be a general manager. Here's how to be a manager or whatsoever else. So, I was also going to school at the same time. So I was reading on leadership, reading on management, and all those other things. So it was kind of like I was getting hands-on experience while reading at the same time. But I think, like I said, I was thrown into a lot of the management roles, and still kind of had to figure out. I had to figure out how to lead an entire team while also managing operations. Learning project management. Picking up human resource role in a sense, accounting, finance, things that I never did before.
mm,
And I had to overcome. I had to take what I had and just kind of put it together.
yeah,
And it worked for a while. It got us from a place of being on a contract from month to month to a 5 year contract of keeping that facility for the airlines. So I think, you know, getting it off the ground,
Mhm.
it took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. Um, and, ultimately kind of also kind of plays into your family life because, you
Mm.
will feel like that's your baby, that's your significant other, all those things, that job, and it takes
Yeah.
away from your personal life. Because then, like, by the time you come home, you're tired. Then at the same time, I had two phones, so while I'm, I remember sometimes I'll be out at the club and I'm getting calls on my work phone. Has to my calling my sister, like, yeah, what you want? What's going on?
From the
And
club?
yeah,
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
the music going, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"What it is? What do you want? What's going on?" And I had to step out, try to answer and resolve issues that was going on because, of course, as you mentioned, a lot of people don't see what's happening. They just get gas at the pump, or they just get on the plane and go. It's not to when you start to see that, hey, we don't have any fuel.
Mm.
Yeah, we're not. Our plane is not moving because there's no fuel coming from the terminal, or the fueler hasn't gotten to the plane. Well, I wasn't over the actual fueling side. I was more so getting the fuel out to the field. Um, but once what let's say the facility shut down, like some electrical issues or something like that, we had the state calling. We had I'm exaggerating now, but say we had the president call, everybody calling, right? People calling from Texas, people calling from all over the world to be like,
Yeah.
what's going on at the airport? We need to know this, we need to know that. So going back, yeah, so I had to have that phone with me. It was in my pocket, in my purse, and I'm answering the phone while I'm in the club and uh
Wow.
drinking, and I'm solving this problem while I'm there. And then the people I'm with are like, yeah, everything okay, they still on the dance floor having a good time, and they're just looking at me like, what's going on with this girl? But I mean, I did it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. The things that we have to do sometimes, especially at a young age, when we're done, no, we're not, we're just trying to figure it out. We're just trying to figure out, like, what is leadership? What does it look like? What should we be doing? How do we manage resources, people? And you're saying you managing two phones and got, club going on at the same time. But it's reality. It's just how things are now, right? Because
yeah,
the when you're in those types of roles, the balance really isn't a balance. It's kind of like, okay, what's coming at you? How are you going to solve the problem? And then we move on to the next, and maybe we catch a break somewhere. All right.
yeah.
Like, that's kind of how it goes.
And people don't see that sacrifice, right? Like, I had to
Hmm.
sacrifice my personal time, 2 o'clock in the morning, because something's going on, and all they see that, hey, the issue's resolved, we're good to go. Then you come back to work, everybody just treating you normal whatsoever else, and it's not until something bad happens then people actually start to pay attention to you. They're not looking at the good things, like, hey, I just saved them from having fueling delays, or this flight from being delayed to get to wherever it had to go. Um, so yeah, and that starts to weigh at you too, because you're like, hey man, what is my purpose in all of this? What am I doing this for? Like,
Mm.
what's important? And
Hmm.
kind of going back to doing that for so long, it started to take a toll on me mentally and
Hmm.
physically as well. So I did, have some physical challenges as far as like, oh, being the stress taking on my going onto my body, like back pain and not wanting to get out of the bed. And there was, I remember, and there was a significant issue going on at the airport with, well, I don't know if you remember the cyber attack that happened with
Hmm.
Colonial Pipeline.
Hmm.
Yeah. So of course everybody was worried about us because we didn't have a lot of fuel capacity at the airport, and they're like, man, how is that going to affect us there? Um, and so they kept calling, they kept calling. We were on calls all the time, and I remember I'm like, hey, I'm trying to take a little break because I don't have any calls right now. I don't have any meetings, and I remember I was um, I was, in the shower trying to get myself together, and then I get a phone call, and um, I rushed out to get it, and I like slipped out and fell.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, trying again. I'm like, I'm. suffering scratches and bruises, and now, now I'm beat up, with other injuries. I'm like, man, is this sustainable? Like, no.
Mm,
So yeah.
yeah. Wellness is something that, many high achieving leaders, they're very much sometimes oblivious to the signs. We just move. We just put ourselves out there and we just like we deal with it as it comes. But then we know there's signs. We see them, we feel them, and we just keep pushing. And sometimes we just need to take a step back and just be like, you know what? I can't be everything to everybody. I just can't. And then you in your situation, you slip and you fall. I mean, that alone in itself just makes you just think to yourself, I just need to slow down. You
Yeah.
know, and it kind of just put you out. It maybe completely put you out for a little bit because, it's just one of those things that we just don't even pay attention to. So like wellness is so important for all of us to look at what we're doing and how we're doing it. And it could be adjusted at any time, right? So,
Mhm.
sharing that with us is so it's so important. Like we got to make sure that we're paying attention.
Yeah, and if comes to your point, if we don't stop, then the universe is gonna stop us, right?
Mm,
A lot of times we're just going and going and going every single day, but we're not taking time to stop and smell the roses, or actually like, hey, reflect. And I always tell people, I'm like, man, if you don't stop and do something, take a break, and you're gonna get that break one way or the other,
yeah,
whether
you will.
voluntary or involuntary. So,
Yeah. Well, I know that Chevy's here. She says, "Good evening, Queen." Chevy's a woman veteran as well. And so she's stopping in on the LinkedIn side. Thank you so much. And then we have Tony Davis who's watching on the Facebook side. So thank you both for being here live with us this evening. We probably got some more folks. If you're here, go ahead and put your name and where you're tuning in from as we continue to have this conversation with Kenya. Um, so, I know that we've had several, um, sessions. Okay.
mhm.
I would say several sessions. Um, and we talked about branding. All right. Because I really felt like that is one of the factors or maybe a missing part to how we can share our story, share what we do and how we do it, and, kind of like tell the world who we are, like reintroduce the world, right? Like
Mhm.
we may have been doing some things for a very long time, and then we kind of have to stop and do an assessment of where we're trying to go. And so we just have to redirect. So during our sessions, I know that we've gone through several different things of talking through like the woman that you are becoming, like
Mhm.
the business and how it's evolving. So at what point do you think that you started to maybe shift a little bit on how you thought about, branding, if you will?
Hmm. Great question. Um, let me see. I'm trying to pinpoint. Well, one, I'm kind of going to change how I respond to this question. I would say, before even meeting you, from my personal stuff, I'm like, listen, if I'm going to be a leader, I'm going to be a thought leader. If I want to be, seen out there in the world, then one, I need to change up, how I'm showing up. I can't be changing. I mean, I can be coming out here looking sleepy, tired, like the weight of the
Mhm.
world's on my shoulder, and like I just threw on something. So I would say before I even met you, I had hired a personal stylist because I wanted to change up my wardrobe. So by the time you met me, I was in the midst of that. But lo and behold, I started to, lose some weight, and the clothes started to, they were becoming big, and I'm like, well, I mean, I just bought these clothes, and my mood is changing, but I think meeting you in, I think I was doing something else before when I initially met you, which was just kind of like what I say was a pit stop,
Hmm.
on the way to my next, to what I'm doing now.
Yep.
But I think I wanted that. I'm like, that's why I remember I said, what is it that you actually do? And you
Hmm.
told me, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna hire you. I just don't know when. Because I realized I needed help with finding out who, or understanding, or actually pointing that out to people, like, who am I actually? Because I think a lot of times, just as humans, we get so caught up in titles. We are,
Hmm.
uh, business owner here, we're mother, wife, husband, father, veteran. But we have all these titles, but who are you at who is Rochelle, who is Kenya? So I think that is one of the reasons why I actually, like, hey, I wanted to, go attend your sessions to understand, like, who I was, and start to, understand who I was, as, to get my own brand, and then one to also help with shaping, my company's brand too.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, I saw the growth. I saw all the shifts. I saw, how you were taking in information, how you were starting to implement. And I think that is one of the things that many of us, we get stuck maybe at some point and we're not quite sure how to take that next step. And, for me, I like to say that I am that, confidence partner in your back pocket, if you will. And if my voice comes in your head, like, what would she do? And you know what I would be doing, right? Like, you need to get on it, all right? Because time is an infinite, you know, it just doesn't last for forever and ever. And there's so many things that we want to do. There's so many ways that we want to make a difference. We just can't get stuck and be there for years and years and years. We've got to do something. And so I think, like personal branding, which is composes of appearance, behaviors, communication skills, and your digital presence. Once you can master those certain areas, I think then you have a plan for yourself. Like, you don't get caught up in, I don't know what to do. I'm not quite sure how to handle this. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure how I should, show up in this particular space, or, what I should say, or how I should, move. Because presence is presence. So you either got it or you don't. Right. So we
Yeah.
want to make sure we got it.
And
Um,
and I was gonna say, I think, you brought up some points that helped me remember too. I was stuck, and, again, when you met me, I was in that space of kind of unfolding, and getting unstuck, but I still was. And, one of the other things I was looking forward to was gaining confidence, because once you kind of, there was some challenges with, previous workplaces, and, you start to take that on and beat yourself up. So yes, my confidence, um, I lost some confidence, and so I was like, man, I need to rebuild this. I need to get this back up. Especially if I'm going to be out there talking to people and even showing up here. So I was like, I wanted to, work with you to help me gain that back. And then I think, as you mentioned, being that confidence partner too. Like, if there's a pair of earrings that maybe someone wouldn't wear to a normal function, but I have in my closet, and I'm like, man, why not wear this? But I might second guess myself because I don't want to stand out per se. But I saw when I saw you were doing it, and I'm like, well, I got all these earrings. Why am I what? Why I ain't putting none on, right? So that I was like, you know what? I'm about to stop this. Let me get pull out my jewelry here and put something on. Even if the outfit don't match, at least the earrings,
that's right.
the earrings are bold. They
That's
come out
right.
as a statement piece. So yeah.
Well, you are a statement. So, like I just when I first met you, all I saw was queen, like queening, and it's like all it is and it's the aura, right? And how the energy on how we could just kind of step into where we are already being called to do. And then once we do it fully, like in our power, in our own personal power, I'm telling you, like things that you thought that weren't for you, they right there in front of your face. And you're just like, oh, okay. And the opportunities just keep coming. And I love when all of those who decide to partner with me, when they share with me all the great things that they're doing, because now they have what they need to really show the world, and I'm just in the back corner. All I am is in the back corner just looking in. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for you. And we've got Jordan more on the YouTube side, and they say loving this interview. And so thank you so much for being here. Is this
Jordan,
somebody you know?
yeah, that's my one of my best friends from long time. So he knows what I'm talking about when
Oh,
I talk about South Carolina. But yeah.
oh wow. Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for being here for Kenya. Okay. Because she's doing a amazing job. Now she thinks that she's probably like, oh my goodness, it's the first time. Believe me, she gonna be on all kind of podcasts and stages going forward. So I can't wait. Okay, so you talked about the business and how you now want to do international. Like you're starting here, but then you're starting, to look at what is overseas and in different countries and so forth.
Hmm.
So, like the beginning of your business, what are what are the business goals, if you will? Like, give me a few of them that you're looking to achieve over the next maybe 6 months to a year.
Oh, you just want 6 months. Okay. I was about to give
Yeah,
you.
because it could be it be a laundry list.
Well, I think this also applies within, next 6 months. One of the overall visions that I had was, as we're trying to transition to clean energy, I think a lot of people think we can just flip a switch and be there tomorrow, but we can't.
Mm,
So, there's a lot of people who are, they have EVs, or sorry, let me electric vehicles, right? And we need electric charging stations. So one of my goals within the next 6 months to a year, begin to help people as well as acquire some sites to be able to transition them or and put some charging stations there, like that's convenient for people who are traveling, from long distance, right? I always think about myself. I did have a hybrid and um,
mm,
I had it was gas and electric, and I always thought about myself because I used to travel from here to South Carolina, and I'm like, man, if I want to charge this up, where can I go? Now they are starting to put some charging stations up, but it's not always as convenient. Like when you're traveling, let's just say for example, 95, you have to kind of go off the exit a little bit to
mm,
get to that charging station.
mhm,
Um, versus like being able to just hop off, and then do everything you want to at one site, like go to the restroom, get some snacks and stuff like that. So
mm.
I want to
Yeah.
be able to put up some more charging stations for people who travel long distance. So
Mm. Yeah, so my mom it cuts off. So hers is not hybrid, but it just sounds like it is. It's like it cuts off to save, I think, to save, what would you call that? When it cuts off when you're at the
so you
stoplight.
you have gas in your so I think a lot of cars have, I think I know what you're talking about. They have that feature where it's like eco safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my car has that. And so yeah, it's just called EcoSafe. It just kind of idles off for a little bit to save on gas, and yeah, and then
Yeah.
turns back on when you press start. So that's
Yeah. So, any kind of vehicles that are kind of in that space, and then the ability to do all the things that you want to do at one location. Because I see these charging stations at like Macy's. Y'all, I'm a shopper. That's one of the things that I do very well. That's my gift. Okay. So, but when I go to Macy's, I see all these charging stations there. And I'm like, why are there all the charging stations here at Macy's? And then maybe thinking through, it's a shopping plaza. So maybe
hmm.
as you're shopping, you are, making sure that your car is charged. But I'm also interested in like, what you're saying, because a lot of people are going to start getting these electronic vehicles here in the future.
Hmm.
So that is one of the things that I absolutely like would say yes. Like,
Yeah.
make that happen.
And for, just talking from a business perspective, that Macy's, or let's just say that shopping plaza, I mean, that's a win-win for them. They have those charging stations there. They bring you there. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna spend your money and shop.
Mhm.
So I mean, just imagine if we had some more like that at like Arundel Mills or
Mhm.
anywhere. Like it's a
Yeah.
win-win for the business because even if they wasn't gonna get anything, they just need to charge their car up a little bit. So it's gonna
Yeah.
make it. They're like, should I get some water? Should I go in there and get some chips? Like, yeah.
Mhm. While
So
I'm waiting.
hmm
How long does it take to charge a vehicle?
there are different tiers. So they
Mm.
have level ones, twos, and threes. So it just depends on which one you have. And from a level one perspective, that's more for your house.
Mm.
Um, and level twos are more like uh let's just say if you want to leave it overnight, but I mean, or like for if you're at an apartment, you want to, do, you're going to be there for a couple hours. And then level three is like quick, quick and speedy. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? That I've learned something. I didn't know anything about that. So, see, the average consumer doesn't know any of these things. Hey, Glenroy. Glenroy is faithful too. I mean, like, she shows up almost every show. So he says, "Good evening. I know I'm late, 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 but I wanted to show my support this evening. Iron his clothes for the week. All right. Yes, you got to do it the night before. So
It's
get
glad
on
to know
it,
people are
Glenroy."
still, it's also say it's good to know people are still ironing. I remember we had that conversation in one of
We
our.
did have this conversation. Listen, Kenya says she don't iron, y'all. And I was like, "What?" She said, I don't know. And I was like, "Well, you need to know. Like, ironing is one of those skills that we all should have. Because if something is wrinkled, we don't want to show up wrinkled. Now, I
Yeah.
know we don't want to show up wrinkled. There are other ways, the dryer, of course, to kind of get the wrinkles out if you want, or hanging it up, or taking to the dry cleaner. But every now and again, you need to like take the iron over something real quick.
Yeah, so that's why we have millennial hacks. I think I'm part of millennial. I don't know if I'm millennial, Gen Z, or if which one do I fall in? I don't know, but that's
Well,
why you have
how old are
hacks.
you?
Oh, you asking those questions on here?
Well, I mean, that's the only way that we know what you are.
I am in early 30s.
Early 30s.
Yeah, very beginning stages.
Well, I think you're millennial.
Yeah,
You said
yeah.
early stages. Okay. Uh, Glenroy says real estate is prime around charging stations. There is a black gentleman and his wife from down south that opened a barbecue restaurant off Interstate 15, about an hour from the state Cali, Nevada state line. He bought there on purpose due to the charging stations being built there.
Mm,
Mm,
mm. I like
that's,
that.
yeah, that's strategy right there.
I need to call him up.
Yeah, you do.
Talk a
Hey,
little.
Glenroy. Hey, like, let's do some connection here, some networking on the show. Like, is there a name? Are they open to having a conversation? Because that's smart right there. He said, "Oh Lord, she is a Gen Z." Oh,
I don't think I'm all the way. No,
ah, see, somebody was going to correct me 100% because
I
I'm like,
think
I
I'm.
don't even know.
I think I'm borderline. I'm borderline. I,
Borderline.
don't put me all the way there.
So borderline then don't use irons. Like, I'm just like curious.
I
Like,
didn't say they don't use irons, okay?
but
Don't
use
never say
hacks.
that.
There's
I'm
hacks.
yeah, like buying clothes that don't require irons. Or going to the dry
Oh,
cleaner. you know. I mean, there's
Oh,
different things to get around, but
oh, I see. I see.
yeah. So
I'm not the mindset. If I see it and it looks great, and I always just go buy it. If it requires ironing, I'm here for it. Like if it's dry cleaner, Chevy's laughing at us because I'm like, I don't even know what categories any
right.
of these are
The,
anymore. I don't even know what I am anymore. So I'm like, okay.
yeah, I'm on that line, and but I probably act like a baby boomer in my soul. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Okay. So we've been on here for we got started a little bit late, but that's okay.
Hmm.
Um, so I do want to ask you a couple more questions before we close it
Okay.
out for tonight. Um, so as you continue on with your business adventure, if you will, because this is a journey as you continue to really figure out like how you're going to move in this next 5 to 10 years or so as you're building your business. um what would be some advice that you would share with anyone starting a business? Like, give me some lessons learned, if you will.
Oh, yeah. I'll try to say this without sounding a certain way, but
Yeah,
just from my experiences,
yeah.
I would say, uh, let me see which one was I going to say. Definitely have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the phrases I always say is know thyself, but I'm going to apply that to your business. Know what it is. Know what your vision is. There are a lot of people, and I think I talked about this with Donnell too,
Mm-hmm.
from Veterans Growing America. There are a lot
Yep.
of people, just because you have a veteran business or minority owned business or small business or whatsoever else, that will try to come in and tell you like, oh, you need to do government contract, you need to do this, you need to do that. Um, do what aligns with your vision and your mission. And granted, those things are great, but you know, do it if it aligns. Um, and at the same time, I would also say you have a lot of noise as a new business owner, and I'm saying from people trying to tell you what to do. Uh, take it, take it with a grain of salt. But at some point, just don't allow it to crowd your ears.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that in the beginning as well. And there's also a lot of people who try to come in and tell you need to purchase from them. You need to, get business advice from them. You need to uh, coaching, all this other stuff, which yes, I'm gonna say it's bad. It's great for you because yeah, it's great to have like a mentor or somebody there that's been through the experiences that you've been through, and they've overcame them. But not everybody is meant for what you have, and not everybody is meant for you. At the same time, half of these people who's selling their services might not even know it. They don't know one drip about the particular area that you're in, or maybe anything that's even close to it. So I would just say be wise, do your due diligence on that. Let people show you why you should work with them. Don't just pay because they sold you a Ferrari or whatsoever else, or they showed you a dream or gave you a kite or something. Let them prove themselves to you, because if not, you're gonna be spending a lot of money in the beginning. You're gonna unnecessary money. You're gonna also be spending a lot of energy and time with these people and feel like you're not making progress in your business. I would also say there are, for people who are just starting up with small businesses and stuff like that, they have a lot of free resources out there right now. I'll say that you
Mm-hmm.
can utilize. So use those. Like is it SBDC?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
SBDC,
yeah, they got
SBA. Mm-hmm.
score.org. I mean, if you're a veteran, go to Veterans Growing America. So yes, down there, I just gave you a free advertisement.
Sure did.
Um, yeah. So there's plenty of resources out there for you in the beginning where you don't have to spend out your hard earned cash. So I think that's best advice. Don't tune out the noise. You don't have to do the same thing everybody else is doing. And being yourself will help you. I mean, I would say will help your business grow faster than anything. I mean, sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable, but I would say let it be for the right reasons, not just
Yeah.
because somebody else is telling you that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Whatever works for your business.
Yeah. Amen to everything that you said. Because I'm like, there's a lot going on when you start a business. And, the last thing that we want is for people to start a business and to stop their business or quit their business because we've got folks in a corner somewhere who are either discounting you or saying it's not going to work. They always have advice.
Hmm.
Believe in me, y'all. I'm gonna tell you this because I've never really shared this on this show. I get people all the time telling me what I should be doing with my business. And you know what I'm saying to them indirectly? Mind your business. Okay. If you got a business, mind your own business. All right. I'm trying to mind mine. All right. But somehow we get unsolicited advice and not the kind that we actually appreciate. I love the ones that come to you and you have a relationship already and they're doing out of the kindness of their heart, but it's all in the tone and then the messaging.
Yeah.
Some folks don't know how to do all that and they just trying to tell you what to do. Well, I spent 30 years in the Air Force. I'm done with someone telling me what to do. Okay, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And
So,
my thing is, a lot of sometimes, and granted, everybody got to start from somewhere, but a lot of times you have those people, when you say, especially, they might be tone deaf or whatever else, and they come in and they're telling you what to do. And I'm like, well, where is your business? Like, do you have
that part.
the certain clients that you're telling me I need to have? Are you at that particular level? So, I mean, it's all about tone as well. I mean, that's my
Yeah,
biggest thing. You brought up a good point. I mean, you brought up a point that I remember, not particularly with this space that I'm in now, but in a previous venture I was on. I had someone who I thought like, we were going to be networking together and whatsoever else. And she showed up, she had her pen and paper ready to take notes about me. And when I didn't, because now I was confused. And when I was answering questions, when I did answer the questions, I was kind of answering guarded, one, but just kind of generalized because I'm like, well, what is this about? Because it's not like, hey, I'm about to. I didn't think that answering questions for me to become your client. But when I started answering them general, now she started to get a judgment or perceive, judgment about me. Well, these are
mhm,
the things you need to be doing. You should know your vision. You should know your goals. You know your this. And I'm like, well, listen, I was not prepared to have this conversation with you. So that's why you're getting certain answers out of me. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't expecting it. So she started to come at me and it got me very upset and angry. And I'm like, I don't want to talk to you again. But this is the
mhm,
stuff I mean. I'm like, if you were so well off, then you would not, you wouldn't be on the platform that you're on, talking to and trying to, I'll say scam or pull money out of me, and then talking to me like you're crazy at the same time.
okay, because that's not what we're doing.
Yeah. So that taught me another valuable lesson as far as networking. Uh, know where to network to. I know we get out
Yes,
here and we try different places, but not every networking group is for you. Not everybody that you meet in networking is going to be for you. So find what aligns. Um, yeah, and take notes of how things are going in that space. Because I've been in some spaces, and yeah, that's. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Kimmy Lang, how you doing on the YouTube side? She got the arm, the salute, and the heart. All right. So thank you so much for being here with us. And do you know her as well?
Of course, that's my
Ye-
sister.
Oh, hey Kimmy, she's doing so great, isn't she? I think she's doing absolutely incredible. Like she's given all of this advice and wisdom and just sharing. I just love this. And Glenroy says, minding our business holds a dynamic that is protecting your brand. Okay.
I like to tell people mind the business that pays. So
Listen.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's just a lot. And our world is just even crazier. Every day it gets even crazier. So we just gotta, do what we can to protect our energy and our peace at the same time and not let all these people and things get the best of us. All
Hmm.
right. Kenya, you've been doing so good on here. And thank you so much for being here as a guest. So what do you want to share with the audience? Anything else besides what we talked about before I ask you the final question?
I think you got that last part. That's been with me for this year because that's my biggest lesson for the past 2 years. So, I mean, I think that's the biggest advice. Mind the business that pays. Know yourself, know your vision, know your business. Um, so that way you don't let outside noise and traffic take you off your path. Um, yeah, be grateful for every
Mm,
day that you have, every chance. And especially even as a business owner, but as a business owner, your personal life, there are things that come up, but again, just sometimes they're meant to teach us lesson, but I mean teach us things. And I would just say have a positive outlook, be optimistic. And I know these are challenging times right now, but
mhm.
I think resiliency is key in all of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. I think that's it because if I keep talking, I'm gonna be rambling on with random wisdom, from my baby boomer, old soul, and all this other stuff. So yeah, they're gonna be somewhere else
Yeah, right.
in the internet.
Well, you know, I'm always thinking of the future. I'm always thinking of the future. I just want to do the best that I possibly can in the time that God has given me. And one of the things that I'm always striving to or looking to is my 80th birthday. If God ever gives me 80 days, or excuse me, 80 birthdays,
Hmm.
I don't even know what I'm going to do with myself. But I'm thinking about how I'm living this life and what do I want my family and friends to say about me at this 80th birthday party. So I'm going to ask you, if God give you 80 years
Hmm.
and you have this big old party, what do you want your family and friends to say about you?
Mm. Great question that I never thought about. Um, well, I want them to know. I mean, well, I want them to at least know that everything that I am doing now, I've always had them in mind. From the
Mm,
time I left home till now, every day I'm thinking about my future family, my future generations, and a lot of time I'm even thinking about the family that I have now. So I want them to know that I'm doing all this work for them. I want them to know. Let me see what else. Well, I want them to see me happy and living life, not just surviving. Right. I think we
mhm,
grew up a lot of times seeing our parents and
mhm.
grandparents and all that kind of in survival mode.
Yep.
Um, but I want them to see me thriving and not just surviving.
Mhm.
Taking them to get new experiences. Um, seeing how like, hey, she was able to change the world. She was able to go travel the world. She was able to do all those other different things. Um, and I want them to say that. Granted, I have an old soul. I want them to say that it was that it was. It's a great. I have a great heart, and I want them to, um, yeah, I want them to say my soul is great too. And, it
Mm.
is, I want to pass on happiness and love and stuff to them as well. So, yeah, I don't have words that I actually want them to say, but I want them to know these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, because words, people just say words all the time. I want them to actually know and feel it.
Mm.
Yeah. And one of the things that I like to do now is I like to bring my family together. So I want them to feel that that's what I like. I want them to, um, you know, I want them to be together, not just isolated and so forth. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. And my time with you has been absolutely beautiful. And knowing your heart and knowing your soul, I know that that is all of what they're going to say. So, Jordan here also has one more piece of advice that he wanted to share before, and that is also never overshare your gift. Okay. Some people are just out here to use and take from you.
Mm. Amen to that.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, y'all. Listen, thank y'all for being here on live on the show. We had let me look on here. Chevy, Jordan, Glenroy, Kimmy, and Caravon, Caravon
Irvine.
Debro.
Yeah.
Great interview. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here. I'm sure you're part of Kenya's, you know, um, crew, if you will. So thank you so much for being here live with her. And we already do. Okay. All right. So, and then on the Facebook side, it had Tony Davis and Glenroy and Chevy were actually on the LinkedIn side. So we covered all of the platforms tonight, and that's a great thing. So, y'all, please make sure that you subscribe and share this particular show out to all the people who need to hear this. If you've got anyone who's got a dream or starting a business, they need to be inspired, you need to share this one, okay? Because this right here is just proof in the pudding of what possibilities could happen. And she's making things happen, y'all. And I just know that this journey is just going to be absolutely incredible. Um, and also, we will be back here next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Slay to Success Talk Show. We will also be back here on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. for the Rise and Slay morning show, where I'm just going to be talking about all things branding. Okay. So if you want to learn more about what this branding thing is, just come swing by. I'll give you a little bit of insight so you can take that along for you through the week. And also, as we know, we're gonna just keep on slaying until we can't slay no more. That's what we're doing. So, Kenya, thank you so much, Queen, for being here on the show tonight. And we will see everybody soon. So, bye
Yep.
bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.